All right, so today I'm going to be talking to you about how to find purpose and at the same time maintain a focused mind. How to find purpose and maintain a focused mind. Let's start with what does the figure say about the notion or the concept of purpose. A study that was done in the US incorporating 6,000 people, averaging an age between 20 to 70. After the study, they have monitored for 14 years the mortality rate of this population of 6,000 people. And they have been able to identify that the individuals that were closer to their sense of purpose, they had longer life or higher longevity rate. In fact, by 30%, by 30%. Other people actually incorporate their sense of purpose with their career, with their job, with their work. It's like this proverbial concept of the carrot with the stick, basically. So for these people who incorporate their sense of purpose with their career, let's see how they are performing globally. In fact, another study that was done by Gallup International, incorporating a worldwide, a global population, they were able to identify that only 15% of the working force globally are satisfied in their job. This means that the ones who incorporate the sense of purpose with their career, 85% of them, perhaps they're not satisfied or they're not on purpose. Another study that was interesting that speaks about job rotation and career rotation. I found it super interesting that between 2000 and 2018, in 2000, they were saying that on average, a person was changing their job 9 times per a lifetime, and they were changing their career 4 times per a lifetime. Whereas in 2018, we jumped from 9 to 12 jobs per a lifetime and 6 careers for a lifetime. So if you, who is watching right now, have already had a few jobs, you're gonna have a lot more by the end of your career, by the end of your lifetime, so to speak. So what is the sense of purpose? I'm gonna be starting now with a poll, which is, if you don't mind joining that poll, where it speaks about whether you have a clear vision of where you are going with your life, if you have, and you have a clear purpose of your life, basically. So if you don't mind answering that poll, I'm going to be running it in a second now. Just bear with me, please. So you should be, I'm going to give you a few seconds. I like this quote by Mark Twain. It says, the 2 most important days of your life is the day that you are born and the day you find out why. I would add to that, that the 3rd day would be the day you actually find out why and pursue that why, pursue your sense of purpose. So if you don't mind, please voting. I'm leave it for a few more seconds for you, and I will close the voting on the poll. Appreciate your participation, by the way. We're trying to make this as interactive as possible. Okay, so I'm going to be ending the poll now and sharing the results. It's very interesting to see that it's almost equally people are just above 5, or there are 6 out of 10, and few people, well, 2 people are at 1, and 2 people that are at 6 out of 10. So we have a mixed feeling between I have a clear vision and I somehow have a clear vision. Interesting. So moving on from here, I want to talk about a Japanese concept. It's called Ikigai. The way it is pronounced is Iki and Gai. What does that mean? According to our friends in Wikipedia, Ikigai means literally Iki to live, Gai is the reasons. So the reason for being, that's your purpose in life. That's what Ikigai literally translated from Japanese means reason for being or your purpose in life. Ikigai is a philosophy. It's not a technical tool that you would actually go ahead and follow it like the Japanese Toyota lean manufacturing. You follow several steps and you will get a result. This is a philosophy, a way of living, a way of thinking. And it's actually tailor-made. It's not for the same size for everyone. Everyone has his own way of what makes him happy, of what makes him tick, of what makes him being on purpose, what fulfills that person. And it's almost like a thermometer or barometer for happiness. The closer you are to your sense of purpose, the more happy you are going to be. And in fact, once you discover your Ikigai, this will give you a meaning to your life. There was a documentary that was done on a Japanese chef. He's actually a Michelin star, 3 Michelin star chef. He'd been making sushi for the past 80 years of his life. He's 95 years old. He'd been making sushi for the past 80 years of his life. If he doesn't have passion and if he doesn't have meaning, and they give him as an example for Ikigai. So this guy shows up every single day following his passion, following what actually bring him a meaning to his life. Now, where is this whole concept of Ikigai started? It actually started somewhere in Japan, in a small island in the southern part of Japan called Okinawa. Now, what is specific or special about this island? In fact, this island is extremely important on the research map of the world of longevity. This island has the highest concentration of centenarians in the world. Centenarian is someone who lives for 100 years old and more. The highest concentration of centenarian in the world. In fact, on average, men in that island get to live until the age of 84 years old. Women, they get to live until the age of 90 years old. And most of the elder there, they are healthy, and 97 of them % lives free of disability, in fact. Interesting research, interesting study I'm going to be sharing with you. You will see that indeed Okinawa, compared to other countries, and the second highest place in the world that has the highest concentration of centenarians is Sardinia, which is in Italy, an island. It's actually double of what Sardinia has. Okinawa, for every 100,000 people, there was 68 centenarian, people who live for 100 years old and more. Compared to the USA, for every 100,000 people, there was 20 centenarian. In Okinawa, there was 68. So the life expectancy in this island is extremely significant. So that attracted a lot of attention from all over the world. And people wanted to study that, to understand, to kind of, break it down. What actually makes the people who live on that island to live that long? What is the secret of their longevity? Turn out to be indeed beyond their diet, beyond their climate, beyond everything to do with their external environment and their diet as well, is actually living the concept of Ikigai. Now, how does everyday Ikigai look for the Okinawan? How do they live their life every day following their Ikigai? They have this concept of not retiring. The elder people in that island, they want to feel that they are needed. They want to feel that they are contributing somehow to a community or society. They want to be involved in meaningful activities. They want to feel that they are continuously learning, activating their brain, and continuously growing. The second concept for how to live everyday Ikigai is to take it slow. Eles são muito tranquilo. They take their time in everything that they do. And they do things in a sense of calm. And they get to celebrate small things, small achievement. And they get to stay away from anxiety and try to look at life in a less serious way. That try to look at their problems in a less serious way. The following thing that they do is the concept in Japanese called hara hachibu. Hara hachibu. What does that mean? If you translate it literally, hara hachibu means that they stop eating when their stomach is 80% full. They stop eating when their stomach is 80% full. I know this is a big challenge for me. I don't know about you, but I tried that. But every day, they actually have at least 5 servings of very important elements in their diet, like fruit, vegetable, tofu. They consume a lot less sugar than other equivalent of elderly people around the world. And they consume 1900, or they actually eat 1900 calorie on daily basis, which is 30 to 40% less than their equivalent in the USA. And they serve the food, this is an interesting one, they serve their food on a smaller plate, so the portion can look actually big and sufficient. The next thing is they like to surround themselves with friends. They have this concept called mowai. Mowai means that it's a concept of a social support network. So they get together, they create communities, they create association, and they're always working with supporting each other. A study, part of that study that was done on the Okinawan, the surrounding themselves with a healthy quality community of people was increasing their longevity by 22%, in fact. Getting in shape, they like to always stay active, whether they are 80 years old, 90 years old, they're always highly active. They get to walk a lot and they never stop moving. And they actually do it on purpose. Everything that they would be incorporating in their life on daily basis, they need to associate some activity, some movement every single day. The next thing is to smile. Isn't that simple? Just smile. But that smile goes a long way. The research have showed that because of their smiles, they get to be feeling more confident. In fact, research have shown that the smile reduces heart rate and improves blood pressure, and you get to be looking more confident and self-assured. In fact, frowning or looking angry activates 46 muscle in your face, whereas smiling only activate 17 muscles in your face. Connect to nature. That is straightforward. They live on an island, so they're really always close to nature, whether a garden, whether a growing a plant in their home. They are always close and out and connecting and nurturing nature. And that helps them with their respiratory problem as well, or any potential illness. and nature to them produces positive emotion to them and improves their nervous system. Gratitude or giving thanks, whether for their ancestors or whether for the nature or just simple things, gratitude is a part of their daily routine. In fact, they have a festival that they have on a yearly basis, which is a gratitude festival. And a study that was done on 3 groups where they have asked the first group for the last week of that first group, what they were grateful for, 10 things they were grateful for. The second group, they have asked them 10 things that was annoying them the last week. And the last group, 10 things that has impacted their life. And it turned out to be that the first group obviously was 25% more happier, the one that were feeling gratitude. Living in the moment. This is about living in the flow. And this is very, very important because this webinar is about how to be on purpose and stay focused and and be in the flow. It's important to them for them to pay attention to details and try not to multitask and be single task on whatever they are doing every day. Being conscious, they have this concept of micro flow. So whether they are collecting the laundry, whether they are doing any routine task every day, they are always living in the flow. In fact, in one article I have come across, Bill Gates have said in that article that he get to wash his dishes every single night because that puts him in a flow or in a meditative state, so to speak. And it gets him to be more focused, more concentrated, and have less noise and less distraction going on in his head. And the final thing is to actually follow their bliss, follow their desire to do something beyond themselves, follow their Ikigai. And that's actually what makes all these people that live in that island actually be in line with their Ikigai and get to even live longer. So I'm going to talk to you about another concept, which is the career Ikigai. We spoke about the everyday Ikigai. Now we're going to be talking about career Ikigai. What do I mean by career Ikigai? This is a Venn diagram that was created by Mark Quinn. And in that Venn diagram, he have depicted that if you do what you love and you do what you are good at, that's how you can find your passion. If you do what you are good at and do what you get paid for, that's how you can find your profession. If you do what you are getting paid for and is what the world needs, that is your vocation in life. And if you follow what the world needs and it's something that you are in love with, that will be your mission in life. And the intersection of all these circles is the career Ikigai. Isn't that an interesting concept? This, in fact, if you put a line across this Venn diagram, you will notice that the lower section is focused on the external world and the upper section is focused on the internal world. So what you are good at, what you are love is all within yourself. You know, what you are getting paid in terms of profession or career and what the world needs is all external. This diagram of Ikigai is actually a snapshot or a picture of where are you at in life. Why? Because all these circles are constantly moving. What the world needs before the corona, as you could imagine, is completely different than what the world needs after the corona. So it's actually not only changing, but it also helps you to understand you and understand your market as well. So you will get to know what you are really good at, what you love, and you will get to know what the world needs. And it's always important for you to stay closer to every single one of these circles. I'm going to be talking in a lot more details about this diagram as we move forward. But the last thing I want to say is that complicated or kind of heavy concept like passion and mission and vocation, especially passion and mission, when I ask you, do you know what is your passion in life? It's not going to be an easy answer. But when you break it down into two sub levels, what about what you love? What about what you are good at? Then it could be easier for you to depict what could be your passion in life. The same thing with mission. If you understand what the world needs and if it's in line with what you love, that's going to be easier for you to be able to detect or depict or be closer to understand what is your mission in life. So you might be wondering, why am I talking about purpose and mission? So just to share with you about my journey with my Ikigai or my purpose, I had a very colorful life. I'm going to go kind of quickly through it, but I will be pointing out about the moment of Ikigai, the moment of purpose. So I was born in Lebanon in the middle of a civil war. Eventually, I wanted to move out of the country and become an international person. So I moved to Australia when I was younger. When I stayed there, I fell in love with the country and I wanted to also be there, make that my new home. But that was not possible, or it wasn't that simple. So I had to get out of my comfort zone, get resourceful, and do something that was completely not related to my Ikigai, to my purpose, and actually graduate to become a cook and a chef. After that, I started my career. And my career was going to be within corporate as a business person. So I went into the finance world and I started working in several companies until I landed a very interesting job at Toyota, still in Australia. Then I wanted to continue my Ikigai, which is related to being an international person, being a global person. But that wasn't possible to go within Toyota. I had to do it on my own. So there was a lot of risk because you're going to be losing your job. You're going to be going somewhere, whether it's going to work or not, you don't know. But because it was completely in line with my purpose in life, I had to really step on my, on the risk, on my fear, and cross the line of fear and follow my passion and my purpose in life to become an international person. So I started working with Louis Vuitton in Dubai, and then I worked with them for 10 years within 3 countries. And, lo and behold, I became an international person. Now, on the point of the Ikigai and the purpose, I was living and working a very interesting career, working for Louis Vuitton, obviously. But my purpose have changed. My intention in life have changed, and I wanted to serve. I wanted to influence. I wanted to help people. And obviously, still maintain an international portfolio, but being in corporate was not serving that purpose that I had. So that's why, you could read between the lines, I ventured out to step out of corporate, step out of Louis Vuitton. And today I am a mentor, coach, and a speaker at the same time. But the one thing that I want to point out here, you will see that my life has been a series of events. But the mistake that I have done in my life is that I was living from one event to the other, to the other, to the other. Unlike our friend in Okinawa, I wasn't living every day my purpose. Every time I land on a specific event, I will be, under the impression that this will be giving me happiness. Lo and behold, there will be always something missing. Then you will move to the next event and you would land your career dream job with all the perks and everything. And you think that this is going to give you happiness, but there is something missing. Then you wanted to become an international person, you do that. and global company, expatriate, moving from one country to another, you think that this is going to give you finally happiness. It wasn't the case. So I missed out the journey in between all of these events. I was working my ass out to get to the next event, And that's what I don't want you or anyone to actually do. Enjoy the journey, live every day your purpose once you find out what it is actually. So going back to this career diagram, the mistakes that a lot of people do, and perhaps some of you have done that, is when they graduate from university or from their college, they get to start their career starting with what they are getting paid for, or what would be a better profession or vocation for them. Where normally this could be lucrative, they could find them their, what would give them the financial security, but at the end of the day, they could feel the emptiness. So the point is, if you live only your career on one circle without associating other circles, you might be feeling emptiness. If you only gonna be finding a career based on what the world needs, you're gonna be experiencing uncertainty. Why? We spoke about these circles are always changing. What the world needed before the corona is different than what the world needed after the corona, right? We spoke last time in one of the webinars that the real estate, commercial real estate for companies might be under threat because companies are working perfectly well without showing up to their offices. So this could be under, a question mark perhaps. If you are doing a career based on what you love, you would be delighted, but it's not going to be financially rewarding. And finally, if you're going to be doing a career based on what you are good at only without having any other intersection, you will be satisfied, but you might have this feeling of uselessness. Now, I'm going to be running another poll if you don't mind, and I really count on your participation here if you don't mind, please. So this poll is about, I take calculated risk from 1 to 10. And I believe I live a life on my own terms, and I get to follow my passion in every decision that I make. So 1 means you take no risk, 10, you take a lot of risk. So just running the poll. Okay, so the poll is running. Can I please get you to participate, if you don't mind? So I will give you a few seconds here to do that. So you got 2 questions. The first question is, I get to take calculated risk from 1 to 10, where 1, you don't take any risk, 10, you take a lot of risk. And the second question, I believe I live a life that is following your own terms, following your passion in every decision that you make, basically. There is only 2 who participated. Can I please get you to participate in the poll? I appreciate it. There you go. Now the numbers are climbing. Few more seconds. Perfect. I'm gonna be now. Thank you so much for your participation. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be ending the poll and sharing the results. So some of you are not so much risk takers, others are risk takers. And most of you actually are closer to living a life on their own terms and follow their passion in life. Fantastic. Very good. So why did I run this poll? There was in fact, a nurse that was based in the northern part of Australia. She was taking care of elderly people for more than 20 years. So she was working in a nursing home, taking care of elderly people that were dying basically. So what happened is that she have managed to collate all the conversation that she was having with these elderly people. And eventually she ended up writing a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And in that book, ladies and gentlemen, all the elderly people, they were having some unanimous opinion for the things that they have regretted. One of the things that they have regretted is that they have not taken enough risk in their life. Another thing from the top 5 regrets that they have regretted is that they have not lived their life on their own terms, following their passion, following their purpose. For any reason, they were afraid of judgment. They were afraid of uncertainty. This book, this piece of information that I just shared with you right now, ladies and gentlemen, this could make up almost like a documentation of what you, every one of us might be experiencing in the future, might be experiencing at our deathbed. So imagine yourself. I want to invite you to imagine yourself. Years and years and years and years, you are on your deathbed and you're looking back at your life. And imagine that you have not lived your life on your purpose. You haven't lived a life taking enough risks. You haven't lived a life getting out of your comfort zone, living on your own terms. How would that look like? So I have followed that pattern to some extent, where I have stayed in a career more than one time, where the more I was growing, the more I was feeling unhappy. So it wasn't in line with my purpose until I had to change gears. Something has to change in order for me to catch up with my level of happiness. Otherwise, I could have keep on going down and plummeting. So if we're gonna go back to the Venn diagram, and we spoke about a lot of people get to start with what they get paid for, or their profession when it comes to looking out for their career, for what they want to do. But the answer lies in starting with what you love. Starting with what you love and moving one circle at a time. Understanding what is your Ikigai, what is the career, what is the profession, what is the map that enable you to actually be close to your purpose. And why did I speak about the art of fulfillment? Because this is a lifestyle. So the moment that you have this diagram, or the moment that you have your Ikigai identified, you will be able to know whether you are close to your purpose or whether you are away from your purpose. That's why I use the analogy of the volume knob of the radio. So imagine you have a radio and you are turning the volume knob up and down. So if the volume is high, you are closer to purpose. If the volume is low, you are away from purpose. And you can only control what you are good at. Out of all of these circles, you can only control, think about it for a second, you can only control what you are good at. You cannot control what you are getting paid for, or especially what the world needs and what you love. You can start focusing on what you are good at. So in order for you to be able to progress and get results, you need to start looking for what the world needs always. Always stay close to what the world needs. When you identify that, you can start working backward, because if what the world needs after Corona is something completely new that you have identified, you better start getting good at it, even if you're not good at it, because eventually you can shift your profession to do that you are good at, what the world needs, and eventually what you will be in love with. So if you consistently progress and get closer to every single one of these aspects and stay always in touch with what the world needs, is that something that I'm good at? Is that something that I love? Is that something that I can get paid off? Or if what the world needs, I found out from what the world needs is something that I love, how can I get paid for that? So you have to get good at it. So you go out there and develop some skills. And I have worked a lot with people, coaching them and mentoring them on how to be able to shift what they're doing, or identify from the job or the career that they are doing right now, what they can focus on more that could make them close to their Ikigai. Because that could apply to the job, could apply as an entrepreneur, could apply even as a student. Ikigai and values is your blueprint. So Ikigai is going to give you a set of, like a map of what are your values. Because what you love, you could be loving to be an international person. You could be loving to be a philanthropist. You could be, same thing with what you're good at and what you get paid for. And you can find a value that is related to you, but can be incorporated with what the world needs. Now, how to maintain focus. And now we spoke about purpose and Ikigai, how to stay in the flow and maintain focus. I'm going to be sharing based on my research and my experience. So everything that I share here is based on my experience, actually. So minimizing multitasking. There is a misconception that multitasking increases productivity. In fact, research has shown that multitasking reduces productivity by 60%, and it will impact your creativity as well. It will increase your stress because you're activating various parts of your brain in order for you to stay alert to distraction, to everything that you are taking control of, and it will disable you from being in the flow. The next thing that I follow is the daily task list. This is a brain hack that I got from Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss is a blogger as well as a podcaster and an influencer. So he says that if you put your daily tasks on a post-it note, no more than a post-it note, you will be able to navigate through your day without overwhelming your capacity, especially your mental capacity. And this will be a way where you can indicate, out of these tasks that you have, what is it of these tasks that should be and can be and has to be related to your Ikigai. The next thing is to obviously set up a better environment. So you got to eliminate your distraction, all the notification, the phone, the noise, the everyday life. You know how it is. A lot of this distraction kind of disable you from being focused and staying in the flow. Meditating, I don't have to tell you about that. There was a lot of research that showed that it reduces anxiety, reduces stress, and increases your focus. And journaling, which is another thing that I utilize. There was a lot of research that actually spoke about the health benefit of journaling, where it can control your mood. What it does, it actually extracts all the thoughts and all that, recurring voice in your head and put it on a paper or on a Word document or whatever you utilize to journal. And in fact, when you are taking your thoughts out of your head, put it on a piece of paper and try to understand or try to objectify, you are objectifying your thoughts and say, well, I'm afraid of this. I'm anxious about that. I am feeling anxious. I am feeling this. So all your feelings, all your emotion, all of your thoughts, when you put it on, you are able already to clear it from your head, objectify it, look at it, and perhaps making a choice whether I want to continue feeling like that or I want to disconnect from that feeling. Because now you can actually read your thoughts. Very, very powerful tool. The next thing is to obviously nurturing and cultivating discipline. I always talk highly about that because discipline help you to become more assertive and enable you to have better decision making. It makes you a lot more resourceful and more emotionally stable. It can give you clarity as well as focus on your target. And the last thing is that you get to become somewhat raising your standards. So what do I mean by raising your standards? Imagine today that you want to go to the gym. Going to the gym can be a should for you, where once you raise your standards, it becomes a must. I must go to the gym is a non-negotiable for me anymore. This is my new standard. This is my high standard, so to speak, of myself. And that's what obviously discipline helps you, enable you to do that. And you gotta keep practicing. So all of these tools, all of this structure, all of that kind of a framework that I have showed you here, it's about practicing that muscle of flow, that muscle of focus, and doing it every single day enable you to do that. So here I want to share one more poll, if you don't mind. And that poll is that the current career that I have is following what I love. This is going to be an interesting one, where one means that I don't love my career, and 10 means I am extremely passionate about my career. So if I get you please to get involved in this poll, please. So basically, this is just to see a picture of where are you at today in your career, in your life, how much you feel that you are following and aligned to your passion, basically. So I'll leave it for a few more seconds for few people to jump in. If anyone else wants to vote, and I will be closing the poll now and sharing the results. Very interesting. We have a group that is on the right track to find their Ikigai, or on the right track to be in line with their passion in their career. Fantastic, and parabéns. So my Ikigai, as I mentioned to you, I actually conduct a workshop and I work with people on identifying what is their Ikigai. It's actually an exercise that can be done, and I've done it myself more than one time. And the way it works, ladies and gentlemen, is you go through every single circle and you work from the outer to the inner. So you identify, normally there was a lot of, kind of a triggering question that you will be getting involved in. There's a lot of work that can happen behind that. But eventually you need to identify what you love, what you are good at, what you are getting paid for. What you are getting paid for normally is one of the easiest one, because this is your job. This is what you do every day. And what the world needs is normally following your knowledge of what the world needs today. And it can change every day. Then when you identify that, you start prioritizing what is more important and what is less important for you. And once you do that, you start bringing to the middle what is more important for you. And that could potentially makes up your Ikigai. And that, ladies and gentlemen, can become your map that would get you closer to what you want in your life. I work with people where they're able to identify a career or a job that would be in line with their Ikigai. Some people were able to create something that was not actually available. So I have this person that I've worked with that actually had some internal muscle pain within his body. And that was triggered due to the exams that he has done by some stress and anxiety. So he wanted to write a book about that and publish that, but he didn't have the skills. So he knows what perhaps the world needs, but he didn't know how to do that. But he loved to do that. So he ventured out to learn the skills to be more a writer and how to promote a book, and potentially connect with a ghostwriter can help him to write that book. And lo and behold, he ended up starting writing that book, and now he's halfway and talking to some editors, and potentially eventually he might end up going and publishing and making money out of this book, and that will bring him completely in line with his Ikigai. So this is just a small example of how this concept actually works. And last but not least, I want to invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to start searching for your Ikigai and ask yourself this question. If money and resources are not an issue in your life, what would be the top 30 things that you would like to do in your life? This is an interesting question because the answer that comes out of that question is gonna enable you to detect some patterns. You will see that, hang on a second, I would like to do this. For example, someone that I have worked with, one of the answers that she have given was related to starting a fashion line within a specific type segment of fashion. Whereas she's working in banking, something completely different, not even related. But she realized that because she is connected to that, and if she would have all the money in the world, she would want to do that. She triggered her interest. Now, hang on a second, why am I not doing something like that or something similar, perhaps in parallel to what I'm doing? So she ventured out with the right support. She ventured out and she started asking the right question to the right people that can give her an answer that could lead her to the next thing. So the point is, this or the work on Ikigai can potentially put you on a path, and then it's your choice to actually go ahead and take the first step. You got to take the first step. The journey of 1,000 miles, it always starts with the first step. So I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last poll for today, and I will release you. But it's just interesting for you to interact and for you to get involved and for me to understand what's important for you and what's not important. So this is about knowing if you are curious about knowing your Ikigai, basically. So last poll for you. If I can get you to answer whether you are interested to know your Ikigai or not. Thank you so much for your prompt participation. This time you have been much faster than before. I appreciate it. Fantastic. So sharing the results, great. Most of you are interested to know about your Ikigai. So congratulations once more, because it's definitely a step for you to kind of move forward. So from here, I just want to thank you for your time. I want to ask you to connect with me, whether you can scan this barcode with your phone camera, or whether you want to find me on any of these Heiji Social through my name. And for this particular group, for FGV, I'm actually with a small offer, which is a promotion on my next workshop, intensive workshop, then your Ikigai. It will be normally hosting 5 people, no more than that. And if anyone is interested, you can with that subject. And I look forward to connect with you either way, whether on my social media or anywhere else. And with that, I would like to thank you for your time. And I hope that this experience have met your expectation and your investment in time this morning. And with that, I will hand it over back to Professor Roger. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado, Professor Roger.
Laurent, once again, fantastic. I always learn a lot, I reflect a lot. I hope I shall be able to put in motion all of, the reflections you spur on me, right? So thank you very much. I know it's late, you're in Australia, it's midnight now in Australia, right, for you, but would you have some minutes just to talk?
Yes,
if people have
please.
questions?
Of course. Any questions, any participation?
So I'll give the word to the participants now. I have some questions myself, but I would like to hear from the others. What would you like to ask, Laurent?
You could actually unmute yourself if you like, because we are a small group. You could unmute yourself and ask the question that you would like. Or you could leave a question on the chat and someone from the team can help us to coordinate.
Hi, Laurent.
Hello.
I'm Guilherme from Brazil.
Oi, Guilherme, tudo bom?
Yeah, tudo bem, você?
Tudo.
First of all, congratulations on the presentation. It was very interesting and motivating. I think it's quite important. Actually, I know Ikigai for some time already. I have made specific work in my company with Ikigai, with the employees, with my team. And it was very interesting. Actually, people have a lot of difficulty to define an Ikigai and to find what they love, to find what is the purpose or the ideal purpose for them. And actually, my question is regarding the changes in Ikigai throughout your life. Do you think Ikigai is something that is more static in general, or it keeps changing all the time and you should continually be looking for new Ikigais throughout your life?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm gonna reverse that question to you. When you were, let's say 10 years ago, right? Or say 5 years ago, to be more safe, 10 years ago, perhaps your value, your intention in life, what you wanted, what you appreciated, what you were following was completely different than what you are right now. To my experience, so the answer in short is yes. All of the circles of the Ikigai are, first of all, intersected, interconnected, and always changing all the time. That's why this needs to be a live document, a document that you're gonna always revisit all the time. Because similar to how I mentioned, it's like a volume knob. So if you are at some point in your career feeling unfulfilled, or anything that you do, could be even a relationship, feeling unfulfilled, so then you want to visit any part of this Ikigai to understand what is it not working there. Now we're talking about more about career. What is it working there? So as I mentioned, the one that is definitely always changing is what the world needs. Do you agree with me? Because what the world needs constantly change. Before,
Yeah,
we never have mobile. Now we have mobile. No internet, internet. Before Corona, after Corona, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, I share your opinion. I believe also it keeps changing. Mainly, what the world needs. Maybe sometimes what you love changes, or even what you're paid for. Professions are changing, and I mean, maybe there's no doctors in the future because robots will be doing doctors' jobs.
Absolutely. So,
But what I struggle sometimes is the fact that uh, if we are supposed to live each moment, and at the same time we try to focus on achieving what is our purpose and what is our ikigai, but if it keeps changing a lot, wouldn't you be chasing your own tail? I mean, if you keep changing your ikigai, but you are trying to reach your ikigai, but it keeps changing, uh, doesn't it make it a little bit difficult to enjoy the moment and to, okay, I achieved it, I'm here, I could focus on my ikigai. But if it's changing all the time, I mean, this is a difficult relation. This is the part where it tricks me.
yeah, no, it's a very good question. So now I'm going to bring you back. It wasn't a coincidence when I was talking about the Okinawan. You know, the Okinawan, they were living Ikigai every day. So Ikigai, at the end of the day, is a philosophy. It's not only about finding the job that makes you happy. So you could be in a job that perhaps it doesn't fulfill you. But if you can find your Ikigai outside of your job, is the way of living, the way of thinking. I showed you my career path. A lot of people do the same. They move from one event to the next event, from one event to the next event. And their life will be a series of events, and they don't remember what's happening in between. So my advice to you, first of all, yes, you have to live a balanced life. If you are completely not feeling fulfilled in your career, this is when you have to visit the career Ikigai. But the everyday philosophy Ikigai, you need to live it every single day for you to be fulfilled, for you to be in line with your values in life. The career, you would only visit it if you're feeling not fulfilled. Also, if you are the kind of person that, you know, I want to make a big difference on the world. And today I am making that much, but I want to know what is happening with the world. So let me visit what the world needs. Maybe I can find something I love within what the world needs, and I can become good at it. So it could trigger you. So first of all, you need to live every day the philosophy of the Ikigai, the philosophy of taking things slowly. I shared with you the 10 things in the beginning. These 10 things, if you follow them every day, these people, I mean, they have proven they have the highest level of centenarians, people that live for 100 years old and more in the world. It's not a coincidence and it's not a joke. You can go out there on the internet and look it up. I've done the research for you, but you can go out there and look it up. So it's not a coincidence. And people are, I mean, researchers are interested, are extremely interested. They want to really know what the heck is this all about? So they went and they dissected the whole thing. And that was the resume before. So it's a philosophy and you got to live it every single day. Does that make sense? Does that resonates with you?
Yeah, perfect. I think sometimes we mix our career with our life, and we have some
Yes,
struggle to identify that our life is not our career, and the opposite way is
exactly.
not the same. Yeah, but
Exactly.
very,
That was the
yeah.
first
Thank you.
slide where I showed that people mistake their career with their purpose in life. And the results of Gallup International is that only 15% of the global workforce is happy. Now, you may not be part of it, but actually 15% are only happy.
Yeah.
Hopefully that kind of brings a bit more clarity for you, but a very interesting and philosophical question. I appreciate you asking that question.
Yeah,
Parabéns.
thank you. And I appreciate the answer and the presentation. Thank you. It was very good.
And,
No
and if
worries.
I may say something, yeah, very interesting that you did that with your employees also, meaning that you want other people around you to be happy.
Absolutely.
So don't want to make a difference only
Yeah,
for you.
and it was funny because when I did it when I began this job inside our company, I told them, the first thing I told them is that I know I am taking the risk of losing some of you, but I think it is important to you. And if I lose you, this is for the best, because if you're not happy, even for the company, it's not good to have you in an environment where you're not happy. So you might lose some people if you do that, but in the end, it's for the best, for them and for the company.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Who else would like to ask a question or comment? Yes.
Here's Eliane. So I'm reading the chat, and Marcelo Lima asked a question. He said, sorry, his kids are making some noise there, so he wrote in the chat. So he asked, did you find your Ikigai on your own, or did you have psychologist professional help?
In my case, I was not able to, I found out about Ikigai through working with a coach and a therapist, in fact. And that's how I come across the notion of the Ikigai. Look, anyone can work on, you can find a lot of information related to Ikigai out there on the web. Guilherme already worked on that and he had exposure to that. So it's actually available out there. But there is also a lot of people that work can help on actually, help people to narrow down the Ikigai. The interesting about that kind of work, because they have had exposure to multiple times applying this Venn diagram on people, they get to ask the right question. They get to trigger people by asking them a question that would change their direction. And this is where there will be some, coaching and therapy, in fact, behind it.
I would like to add something that remind me in most of your presentation. I worked for 24 years in a construction company. I have a very good career. I was a director, very important in the company. And with the crisis after 2014, the market is shrink and I lose my job. It was very difficult. But today I see it as one of the better things that happen in my life. And I would never take this decision to quit my job. And so I think maybe the Ikigai can help a lot of people. And it's very important, I think,
Thank you so much for sharing that and for, actually sharing this close notion about you. I always say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. So the day you woke up and you all of us, in fact, we woke up one day and they told us they're going to be a lockdown. We didn't think about that a day before. Life can change anytime. And this kind of tools helps you to be ahead of the curve, helps you to be in a place where there was no kind of fear. Why? Because if you are good at something that the market needs, if you are good at something that the market needs, and you are in love with it, I don't have to tell you, you will be unstoppable, especially if you are good at it. If you're not good at it, maybe it will be the time, and I'm gonna say that to every single one of you here, maybe it is the time for you to get curious and try to find out what could that be if you're not fulfilled in what you do.
Yes, but the point is, I always think that I loved my job. Even nowadays, I was happy there, but not so happy that I can be. So I always love to do what I did in my life. But now I see that it's a better life then work so much that I used to, and of course have something back, you know. The problem is that when you don't love, I think it's easier. But the problem is when you like what you do, you know.
Absolutely. No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
Laurent,
But
may I
this
say
is,
something here? Laurent, this is George. Can I say something?
please, please, please.
I actually experienced something similar to Luciana, right? I was happy with my job, but there are some things that happen and they make you really say, once you lose what you like, and then you are more apt to pursue something new. First, I worked for more than 10 years at Petrobras, a big company. I was very happy there. But at some moment, I had the opportunity to join the internet business, .com business. So I quit that 10-year job for something very risky. But it was my decision, right? So I did that. 3 years later, there I was, and the CEO of my company came to me and said, George, you know, the investment fund that has invested in 8 .com companies, they say they're going to leave the business and they're going to sell everything. Meaning that we'll all be, you know, unemployed very soon. That changed my life, right? At that moment, I was already teaching for undergrads part-time, and I loved teaching. But I might not have become a full-time professor and researcher had not received that very sad news that I was fired, right? So an executive career that made me happy would not have allowed me to pursue another career, teaching and research, which makes me much happier. Right? So the thing is, sometimes you need an external push.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, for a lot of people, it happened like that. And I mean, even for me, although it was an internal push from my end for me to leave Toyota and start my expatriation journey, then another internal push from my end for me to leave Louis Vuitton and start my coaching mentoring journey. But that came on the back of several factors, several factors, not to kind of go into details, but there was a lot of things that happened perhaps inside of the company, in the place that I was living in, or in the environment, or anything like that, that also got me to take that call and move on. But the point is, whether if you are happy in a job where you are right now, and you are feeling that you are on purpose in your life, that's the whole point that we don't want to miss, because job is not going to bring you your fulfillment. I spoke before about the art of fulfillment is knowing how to find fulfillment in everything that you do in your life. Once the job topic get threatened, whether by external environment, external push, or even you don't feel that you are aligned to it, this is when you can connect with similar model. And in the case of Professor Jorge, it was a very good example, because he was already doing something that he is in love with, and what the world needs, he's good at, but he never actually envisioned that this would be an actual career that I will have it for full time, so to speak. But lo and behold, things changed in the environment and he ended up doing that. And now back to you, Luciana, that you have initiated this interesting discussion, is that, we don't have to go into this right now, but the point is, what is it out of all these circles that is interesting for you? Meaning, what is it that you love? What is it that you do, you are good at? What is it, all of this, for you to understand what is the thing that you want to be heading towards now that you have the flexibility and the choice, perhaps, that you could take your next step, basically. And let me tell you, Luciana, life is too short. Huh? I mean, I understand you were in a job that you were satisfied in, but don't take it as just let's have the next job, because clearly that you are a well-accomplished professional. So, you can always go back and find any job. You want to start with what you love and what the world needs. and then understand if you are good at that or not, and how can you become good at that through what you were getting paid for before. And that's how you start making the intersection between all these circles, basically.
Hi, Laurent.
Makes sense.
Hi, Laurent. Bob speaking from Brazil. Got a quick question.
Hey,
Right? Yeah, I've been listening to your talk, and I just can't help but kind of like thinking. So is that a perfect time in your career to start off with the whole Ikigai thing? The reason I ask this is because, like, hey, I mean, like, if you ask me what I love to be doing now is chilling in some island, right, on the beach in front of a blue sea. But in reality, we can't afford that. Sometimes we assume that we're either rational actors, or our decisions that in a lot of cases, many things life happens, and you've got to take choices. You've got to do things. So I'm wondering if the Ikigai thing cannot really become then a kind of like a regret paradigm that traps people in. I mean, I do things, I take chances, I make rational actions. Life happens, and I just got to move on. I don't examine my life from an Ikigai kind of perspective, because I feel that can keep me trapped in a regret paradigm that I keep on thinking, oh, well, maybe I'm not doing what my Ikigai suggests. No, I'm just trying to pay my bills, right? Develop, an equity for my kids, and live life kind of like the most convenient way, really. Maybe not the best, but the most convenient way. Yeah.
Sure. No, fair enough. And you're not the only one, of course. But let me ask you a question, Bob. Then it goes back to how important for you to live a life following a purpose, or live a life that we are feeling fulfilled. How important that is for you. And it's not a question that I want you to answer right now, but a question that I want you to think about, actually. And here's the thing. With this whole concept of the Ikigai, I gave the example of the gentleman that I mentioned about, who was trying to write a book. This guy, similar to everyone else, have 3 kids. His wife doesn't work, and he's the only one who's working and providing to the house. And he has 3 small kids. So if he stops working, obviously, he's not going to be able to find nothing, put it this way. But working with that guy, I was trying to understand, when you spend your week, your spare time in your week, what do? How do you spend that time? How do you spend the non-important and non-urgent part of your week? Obviously, the answer was on Netflix, or the answer was on the next series, or whatever it is. So waking that DNA in him and getting him to think about, because the guy came to me and he was feeling unfulfilled. If he was feeling fulfilled, if he was happy, fine. The guy is in his space that he should be. But the conversation starts about this Ikigai, whether you are fulfilled or not. If you found fulfillment, like the Okinawans, every day through what you do, this is the space that you need to be at. But if you're not fulfilled, and there is that burning desire inside of you that is keep on calling, and you're trying to ignore it, and it gives you this anxiety, it gives you this stress, or whatever it is. It's not about jumping ships. It's not about, dropping the towel, cold turkey overnight, quit your job and start something completely different. It's not about that. It's about, first, are you happy and fulfilled where you are? If you are, this is the space that you need to be. If you're not fulfilled, this is where you need to start doing the search. And this tool, amongst many tools out there, it's just a map that can help you to understand what is possible out there for you. And then the question, how do you want to spend your spare time? What do you do after 9? How do you spend that last 2 hours before you sleep? And that's the whole point. Like in the case of that guy, I kid you not, the guy, when you look at him, he's the average person, professional, working, all of that. But he got to a stage where it was do or die, because completely he was kind of feeling unfulfilled. Not only feeling unfulfilled, his boss in his company got made redundant. So guess what's going to happen next, potentially? in the middle of the corona. So if you don't want to be anticipating if there is something happening, but if you don't want to be anticipating, if you see yourself that I can do what I'm doing and I'm secure and safe and I don't want to be taking risks for the rest of my life, that's exactly where you need to be, and you shouldn't be changing that. I hope that makes sense.
It does, though. I just kind of feel it doesn't answer my question of whether or not happiness sometimes is a luxury.
So I didn't hear that.
I just wonder, sometimes isn't happiness a luxury?
Lottery.
A luxury.
Happiness is a luxury.
Yeah, sometimes isn't it a luxury?
Happiness shouldn't be a luxury. I believe if you don't find happiness in your everyday life, then what's going to happen on the back of that? It's going to accumulate and it's going to build up, and it's going to obviously get you intrigued enough to know, what is this all about? Why am I not feeling happy? Why not feeling satisfied? And that could turn into anger, that could turn into anxiety, that could turn into, in my case, Bob, I've experienced for more than a year insomnia, where I was only able to sleep 4 hours a night for 1 year because I was ignoring what was going on with me. I was in the right place. I was paying my bill. But I couldn't tolerate not finding happiness anymore. I don't believe it should be a luxury. It should be a
option.
Yeah, it should be a pursuit. It should be a pursuit, because at the end of the day, we are living to pay our bills and all of that. But we see that happening all the time. I'll give you a simple example. Robin Williams, he could make anyone and everyone in the world laugh, but he couldn't make himself internally laugh. And his family found him one day hanging down from his, toilet ceiling, so to speak. He didn't have any problem with money. He had the money, he had the fame, he could make people laugh, he had a good family. I believe he had a good way of living, but there was something missing in there. When they talk about the art of fulfillment, they give the example of the astronaut. The astronaut, they work their ass out for years and years and years. Can you imagine the amount of study and education for you to be able to get on that rocket and go to the moon? And they're living their life based on that one objective. I want to go to the moon. The day they get on this rocket, they fly to the moon and they come back, and the president of the United States shake their hands when they come down and they take photos with them. What happened 6 years after that? Studies actually have shown that these people goes into severe depression, because the more you get to a high positions and achieve more in your life, and you equate your happiness and fulfillment based on that achievement, based on that target that I have gotten in my career and in my life, this is where it could be a dangerous recipe, because what's going to happen after that? I have associated myself with a lot of executives, C-suite, CEOs. Although they were successful in the eyes of everyone, internally, they were feeling a lot of doubt. They were afraid for their job. And imagine, after all these years of working hard and showing up every day and being a leader and all of that, they still experience insecurity. What a life to live. What a way to live. But I love your contribution, Bob. Thank you so much for this contribution.
Could I offer to that? This is Marianne from the Netherlands.
Okay, so Marianne, yeah, please do that. It's going to be the last comment, last question because of the time, but I thank you very much. And if you have more, just email Laurent or email Eliane here and she'll follow up with Laurent. Please, Marianne, thank you.
Conexão?
Marianne, we can hear you now. Marianne is in the Netherlands.
I
She's from the
think
class
she
that
looks connection.
graduated. She graduated last year. Huh? Right now, she lost the connection. Well, she'll be able to come back. But meanwhile, Laurent, let me thank you again. It's been fantastic. I'll follow up with you. I think that's what you have said resonates a lot with what we think in the One MBA, right? We're here to be better people, better family members, better citizens, and not just better executives. We want to lead more than our companies, right? We somehow want to make a difference in the world and in the people around us. So I'll come back to you, because I really think that we should pursue something with you and your One MBA students, this class, next classes.
It'll be a pleasure.
Let me think about that also. Yeah. I think Mariana has really lost her connection. Okay. Maybe she'll connect by email, or else I'll try to connect with her by email and ask her to send her question to us. Okay, so I'll be in contact. Thank you everyone for being here. Right? Okay, Luciana, Bob, Guilherme, Paula, Ulis, Fernando, Ni, Marcelo, Alina has left already. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, it's been